Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
MPs have voted by a margin of 4-1 to renew the Trident nuclear weapons system. 60% of Labour MPs voted in favour of Trident, defying their own leader, Jeremy Corbyn. We'll look at what this means for Labour in just a moment, but first, what is Trident? Trident is the name of the UK's nuclear weapons system. The system is made up of 4 submarines, 58 Trident nuclear missiles, and a stockpile of more than 200 nuclear warheads. Trident missiles carried on the submarines are around 18 times more powerful than the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. The submarines were built between 1986 and 1999. They're old and need replacing. Doing that will cost around £31 billion over 35 years. That's about 0.2% of total government spending. Protesters argue keeping nuclear weapons costs too much money. Keeping nuclear warheads could lead to accidents, and they say it makes the UK more unsafe. Those in favour of Trident think it makes us safer because it's a deterrent. 9 countries have nuclear weapons, including Russia, Pakistan and North Korea. Let's talk now to Ryan Ramsey, who is a former submarine commander in the Navy's attack fleet, who trained others to captain the Trident submarines. Also with us, Rear Admiral John Gower, a former Assistant Chief of Defence Staff for nuclear deployment. Welcome, both of you. Ryan Ramsey, you completed underwater training missions on Trident submarines. Describe for our audience the submarine for it.
I mean, the submarine is a huge vessel. It's impressive technology-wise, and it's an impressive piece of equipment that's taken out to sea, providing the deterrence that the UK needs. More importantly, is the crews that operate it. So keeping that going 24/7, 365 requires highly skilled operators, people who can make decisions, people who can lead, people who can follow, and they do that very effectively.
And tell us about the responsibility you feel on taking a nuclear-powered submarine to sea.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility of taking any warship or submarine to sea. It's about achieving political effect, it's about achieving strategic effect, but importantly it's about bringing your crews home safely as well. So taking your crews off in the knowledge that you might go to war actually is a huge responsibility, but it's also a privilege and one I enjoyed.
Much of the time, though, life must be a little mundane on a submarine.
Yes, so I describe it as 60% of boredom, mundane, day-to-day stuff, and then 40% of adrenaline rush. And actually managing your team to be able to do that on a ballistic missile submarine for up to 90 to 100 days is a huge challenge. And for some of the attack submarines that go on long deployments in excess of 300 days, that's another huge challenge for the leadership team.
Yeah, well, I think you've spent nearly a year at one stage under the ocean. How do you deal with that?
Days roll into days, but the tasking that attack submarines have varies quite a lot, so there's always a new challenge. By focusing on the near term, what needs to be done immediately, with a longer term focus on making sure you bring the submarine back safely after 286 days away, that keeps you focused.
I'm sure it does. Rear Admiral John Gower, thank you very much for talking to us. We think 9 countries have nuclear weapons. As a deterrent, does Trident work?
Yes, I mean, the deterrent has worked, fielded by ourselves, France and the United States for over 70 years. We haven't had a use of a nuclear weapon in anger against people since Nagasaki in 9th of August 1945. And so to say that the deterrent doesn't work is incorrect. It works every day. I
have messages from viewers saying, what use is Trident when we have lorries being used as weapons these days?
Well, Trident has never and is never meant to deter terrorism or other threats that are not nuclear. Trident is there to assure and guarantee the security of the United Kingdom and her allies through the NATO alliance against the most extreme of threats, either direct attack with nuclear weapons or the use of nuclear weapons to coerce. And certainly the behaviour of Russia over Ukraine and her blatant nuclear sabre rattling on the eastern edges of NATO over the last 2 years has shown that this threat is not some relic of a bygone era. This is here today. But there is no case made for Trident to prevent against terrorism, and therefore to say it doesn't prevent terrorism is a reason to get rid of it is facetious.
But Trident didn't stop Russia going into Ukraine.
No, it did not. But that was not a nuclear threat.
No, but you just used that as an example.
It's not a panacea against all things, but it is a panacea against Russia using nuclear weapons as part of its increasingly belligerent attitude to NATO.
Ryan Ramsey, you were captain of a number of attack submarines. What is the difference between those and the Trident programme?
So, just for clarification, I was a captain of one nuclear attack submarine. The difference is the size. If you can imagine that the ballistic missile submarine is about 5 times larger than the attack submarine. The tasking is different as well. So the attack submarine is about intelligence gathering, almost the first line of defence for the United Kingdom, and using Tomahawk missiles where required. Whereas the strategic submarines are there for the last line of defence of the United Kingdom, and arguably adding to the first line by deterrence itself.
OK. Thank you both very much for your time. Thank you. Ryan Ramsey, a former submarine commander in the Navy's attack fleet, and you also heard from Rear Admiral John Gower.